my name's Dylan. I make music under the name Hearingson, and this morning I've got a new thing. It's an Ableton Move. It's quite a cool thing. It's a portable 4-track drum machine, synth, sequencer kind of deal. It's battery powered, it's got a speaker, but I thought I would try it out for doing what it's designed for, which is taking it places. So this morning I went and sampled some sounds with Move outside, and I'm going to try and make those into a track. Choice. Okay, so I'm back in the studio now with Move. I've got my 4 samples that are recorded outside, and we're going to try and make a track. So we've got weird outside backyard ambience. We've got, that one's pouring coffee. Those are the nice mallets I recorded on the desk. And I think this one is rustling grass near my cat Bob. Yeah. Cool. So those are my 4 samples. They're kind of lo-fi and a bit crunchy, and they've got a lot of background noise and some wind, but that's actually kind of the point, because I want that in to complement the electronic sounds I'm going to add. So I think I've got my tempo set at about 138, so kind of dubstep tempo. I'm going to play with this ambient sound first. So the first thing I'm going to do is mess around with the playback effects and the pitch. Move has a bunch of different ways of playing back samples, all of which do have 2 controls and do quite interesting things. I'm going to try sort of the stretch, which is like a granular style stretching. So if the grains are really small, it sounds metallic, and as they get bigger you can sort of hear them repeating. Sounds quite cool. Now to get to what I want to do is add reverb. So to get to reverb, you select your track and you scroll from the whole drum kit. You go past the pad, which controls the sample parameters, and the third one is the reverb send. And you have a reverb send per pad. When you're on this page, you can control the main reverb parameters like decay time, room size, stuff like that. I've already got the reverb set quite long, which is what I want. Cool. So now that weird ambient sound has got lots of nice reverb on it. That one doesn't sound so good. I'm going to put reverb on it, and maybe because those noises are all quite high pitched, I'm going to pitch the sample down quite a bit, I think. So we'll go back to my sample page. Sounds much more interesting down low. It starts to get quite grainy. I'm kind of almost 3 octaves down now. And there somewhere sounded good. We're going to just adjust the hold so it only plays for about 1.5 seconds. Now that one there I want to make into a melodic part. There's 2 notes going on in it. I probably should have left more space between the notes when I recorded them. But what I'm going to do is use the loop playback effect and the start offset point, and probably the length as well actually. So if I hold shift and turn this knob, I can choose the length of the sample. I just want that first note to play. Yep. That's cool. Clicks a bit at the end, but I'm actually going to loop the tail of it, so that doesn't really matter. We'll just turn the hold down a bit. At the moment it's decaying for 16 seconds, which is far too long, so put this around 2 seconds as well. Now what we're also going to do is do a bit of filtering. So while I'm on this page for the parameters, if I hold shift and click the wheel, I can choose between the main bank of parameters, which were the sample controls, and the secondary one, which has all the filtering and stuff on it. So I can choose different filter types. I'm going to use a low pass for the coffee sound because it's kind of a low frequency bubbly thing. That one there's got probably far too much low end in it actually, so I might try a, what should we try? High pass on that one. So I want that sort of splashy high frequency stuff, but I don't want all the rumble that was in that sample. That one I'm probably going to leave pretty open. I think what I might do is just resonate the high end a bit. Yeah, that's cool. There's a few other parameters here. You can turn sample choking on so that samples turn each other on and off. You can do the velocity to the filter and how much, those kinds of things. I'm going to go back to the main bank now. I'm going to hit shift and click the wheel. No, I'm going to push that. That'll get me back to my main menu. So let's find part of this one. I think this one also needs to be pitched down. I kind of want like one of those weird rustly burial type ambiences, I guess. So it's got a bit of implied rhythm at the front of it there, which is nice. Again, probably a couple of seconds of hold time. Actually, I think with that one as well, we will go in and mess with the filters. We could do, with this one, I think what I'll do is I'll use a high pass filter and I'll push the resonance right up, but I'm going to bring it down in low frequency. So what happens is you get a big bump at whatever frequency the high pass filter is cutting off. Conversely to what you might think, a high pass filter is a good way to add low end. You can hear that thump coming out because I've used the filter. Cool. Okay, so let's try and start making this into a bit of a song. We've got a drum kit over here. What's nice about Move is you can easily audition drum sounds. So if I choose that pad, I can audition single drum sounds and they get changed in place. I don't even think that I want a tom for that. I want something different, like a wood sound. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Okay, cool. You can also browse for the whole kit in that way, and you can preview the kits as you're browsing them, which is pretty choice. I'm not going to change this kit because I quite like the sound of it. So let's put down just a simple backbeat. So these 16 buttons across the bottom are Move's step sequencer. So I can choose a pad, put it on the one. I'm going to put the snare there. Really boring backbeat, but it's just going to help me start arranging those samples. So I think that one we want to go on the one. We want this loop length to be, I'd say, 4 bars long. Let's try that. So by holding this button and turning the wheel, you can change the length of the clip. So I want a different pitched sound. So I'm going to duplicate that pad down one. And I'm going to change the start point so that I get that second note instead of the first one. Yep. Okay. And so the first note goes on bar 1. Let's put the other one on the start of bar 3. And let's start putting some of these weird sounds on the other bars. One's a bit loud. So I'm going to hold the pad down and turn the volume knob. Okay, so let's put a weird sound on the start of bar 2 and a weird sound on the start of bar 4. I think what I'll do is use that coffee pouring sample. I think it's, which one is it? That one. I'm going to put that, have that play with the mallet sound. So at the start of bar 1 and the start of bar 3. Yeah, cool. So what's nice about that is I took Move outside, I sampled some pretty silly noises, but they sort of inspired me to make a piece of music, and they give it some nice organic ambience that you wouldn't have if you just used electronic and synthesizer type sounds. So we've got that beat going. Now let's look at doing some hi-hats and other percussion. So for hi-hats, Move has the note repeat function, which is this one here. When I turn that on, I will get a 16th note repeat. And because these pads are velocity sensitive, I can control the volume of the repeats by how hard I press the pad. So let's do that. I'm going to use Capture to grab what I just did. So Capture, instead of recording, Capture will grab whatever you last did on the pads or with MIDI and record that for you. Okay, that's cool, but a little bit boring. Let's automate the transpose. And I'm going to also high pass those samples as well, because now that they're pitching down, they get quite low. So I'm going to jump over to the filters again. I'm going to choose that one. I'm going to choose a high pass filter for this guy, and I'm going to turn it up quite a bit. Each of those samples takes a while to finish. But yeah, so now I've got a little hi-hat pattern that I played by using note repeat. I'm going to turn note repeat off now. So I played that in with velocity. I jumped up to the filters. I filtered the sound up a bit so that when I was automating the transpose or the pitch of the sample, when it pitches down low, it's still getting high passed, so that doesn't interfere with the drums and the other low frequency sounds. What I'm going to do now is probably add some other percussion that I'll just play in, I think. Let's shorten that. Oh, that loop is only 1 bar long. I want a 4-bar loop, but I want to double the loop that I have. So I'm going to repeat it once and then repeat it twice. So now I have a 4-bar phrase of that same drum pattern. So I'm going to play some percussion and other sounds just to give the rhythm a bit more variation. I'm going to use the metronome and count in just since it's a tight rhythmic part. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That sound there is a bit loud, so I'll turn that one down. I don't want it to overwhelm the other samples and stuff that are going on. Hi-hat's a little bit quiet now, so just bring that up a bit. Cool. Let's add a synth sound. So as I was mentioning about the drum samples and the drums, browsing for synth sounds is really fast because you can play them on the pads as you're browsing. So rather than just having to listen to a static preview of the sound, I can hear them while I'm browsing through the list, which is pretty nice. Some of those sounds further up sounded quite cool. Which one was it? Oh, that one. No. Let's try that one. It's a basic saw sound. Okay, so we'll load that and we'll go into the settings for that as well. So we've got filter cutoff, wave position, folding, decay, release is the one that I want. Something like that. Let's try playing over the track and see if we can find something that works. in there somewhere. Those 3 notes work quite well. Okay, let's capture that. And I'm just going to automate that filter cutoff. Just going to turn the synth track down a little bit by holding the track button and turning the knob. Okay. Yeah, cool. So that's how you use Move to go somewhere different in your studio, record some material that's going to inspire a tune, and then bring it back and turn it into a beat. It's quite fast, quite easy. I'm going to show you one last trick, and this is Move's kind of magic secret power. If I hold Shift and go down to the Set menu down the bottom here, and I go to my set overview, first thing is that you can play any set just by pressing it and hitting the play button, and it will preview straight away. So it's another beat I made on Move earlier. Its secret power is as follows. If I hold Shift and press a pad, I can choose if I want a set to be in the cloud or local. And if I choose the one that I've just been working on, I can choose Upload to Cloud. That set, those sounds that I just made, are going to sync into the Ableton cloud, and they're going to be available later on either in Note on my phone, but actually what I'm interested in is those sounds and that set will load up in Ableton Live auto-magically via the cloud, which I'm quite looking forward to playing more with. Yeah, so that's my first video on Move. Hope you like that. There'll be some more coming along, so follow if you're interested in this kind of thing. Thanks.